For today's Algebra 2 lesson, we're going to be talking about direct and synthetic substitution. For direct substitution, we've seen this before. We may not have called it exactly direct substitution, but you guys have probably seen examples before. So we have our equation f of x equals 2x to the fourth minus 5x cubed minus 4x plus 8. We're trying to find when x equals 3. So for direct substitution, we're simply going to substitute the 3 anywhere we see the x. So we rewrite it as 2 times 3 to the fourth minus 5 times 3 cubed minus 4 times 3 plus 8. You can plug this into your calculator. You can simplify it by hand. Either way, we end up with 162 minus 135 minus 12 plus 8. So I simplified each little piece here. And when we get it all together, we end up with 23. So that is direct substitution. Again, something you've probably seen before. You may not have called it exactly that. What we're really going to get into, though, is synthetic substitution. So synthetic substitution is a little bit different, and we have our steps written down for you. We're going to start with writing down the coefficients. Remember, those are the numbers in front of the variable. We're going to put them in order of our exponents, and we'll talk more about that. Then we'll talk about these steps as we go through. So we bring down our leading coefficient, we do some multiplying, adding, and we'll get to our final answer. So let's look at some examples instead of just reading the steps. So here we have f of x equals 2x to the fourth minus 5x cubed minus 4x plus 8 when x equals 3. So we're going to start by writing down our coefficients. The first one is a 2. That goes with our x to the fourth. The next one is a minus 5. That goes with our x to the third. We don't have an x squared in here, but we do need to have a placeholder, and that's very important. It's a 0 since there's nothing there. We have a negative 4 on our x, and an 8 is our constant. Then over here in the corner, we're going to put our 3. All right, so step 1, it says bring down the leading coefficient. So this is just going to come down. We're going to write a 2. Multiply the leading coefficient by the x value. So 2 times 3 is 6. Then write the product under the second coefficient. Then add. So negative 5 plus 6 is 1. We're going to repeat. So 3 times 1 is 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. Multiply 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus negative 4 is going to be 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Add them together, 23. Sometimes we draw like an equals line all the way through. 23 ends up being our final answer when we do synthetic substitution. If we go back up here, these were the exact same problem, and we did get the same number, which is a good way to check and make sure you are on track. Let's look at another example. Here we have f of x equals 7x cubed minus 5x squared plus 8x minus 1 when x equals 3. Sorry, I can't get the whole thing easily on my screen as I show you. We're going to start with writing down our leading coefficients. We've got a 7, a negative 5, 8, and 1. And here we have 3, 2, 1, nothing. So we don't need to have any placeholders. And over on the side, we're going to put our x equals 3. Hopefully I can get all that in the video. All right, there we go. So again, bring down our leading coefficient as 7. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add, multiply. Oh, and I made a mistake. I missed my negative here. This was a minus 1. Make sure you keep those negatives handy. Final adding is 167. So keeping those negatives is going to be really important. I brought my negative down with the 5. The negative goes down with the 1. We'll do one last example just to make sure. So here we have 12x to the fourth plus 5x squared minus x plus 7 for when x equals negative 2. So start with writing our coefficients. We've got an x to the 4th, so we've got a 12. We don't have an x cubed, so we're going to have a placeholder as our 0. 5, negative 1, that's what is in front of the x, and a 7. Over here on the side, we have a negative 2. Bring this straight down. Bring our leading coefficient down. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. Multiply. And add. And that is your final answer. And if ever you're uncertain or you want to check your work, the easiest way is to try doing this with direct substitution as well, and you should get the same answer. If you have additional questions, feel free to ask your math teacher. Have a good day.